Hey Covalence friends. So we're going to be doing two cool things today. One is using Heroku's task scheduler to have a program execute every so often, like daily in this use case. And the second thing is utilizing Twilio to send us text messages about today's, weather. So we're going to be using Open Weather API's current weather API. It's nice and easy to work with. And we do have to register for an API key. It's free. You get 1,000 free calls a day or so, and it's, a trivial cost beyond that, but we're just using it for one call a day. So super nice and easy peasy to work with. You'll also need to register with Twilio and get your developer keys as well for that. And I have gone through and already set up my configuration file here. We're using .env in this to help manage our credentials. And I will be providing this env sample here as part of the repo so you can see the format. You'll get an account SID with Twilio and an auth token. You will also be provided a phone number. That is your Twilio account number. And then here, this is the target phone number. Like you want to text yourself these credentials or this information. So you'll put your phone number here. By the way, this is all, fake information. Some of it's like base 16, some of it's base like 32 or 36. Can't remember. And I set this config up like a week ago, but I forgot what messages I put in here. So if you guys want to take a crack at, determining what it's encoded with and commenting that in the replies, that'd be great because I've already forgotten. So I do have this env sample defined. And we do have this anonymous function we export out of this file to go ahead and configure and load everything up that we destructure out. We also throw an error if we have any missing environment variables, so that way you can just ensure that your app will only run once everything is defined. And we return, an object of our config objects here. So let's go ahead and get this application actually coded out. In our app.ts, I need to import Twilio. And I'll go ahead and import the default export of our config file, which is that function. So it returns an object with the Twilio and weather config objects, the nested sub-objects in there. So we'll go ahead and destructure those out. And, in order to get rid of ambiguity, because I do have the default export from the Twilio library as Twilio with a capital T, we're going to go ahead and we will still destructure this. We'll just go ahead and alias Twilio out as SMS instead, just to make it a little more distinguished. So I'm also going to be using Fetch. I'm using, an up-to-date-ish version of Node. As long as you've been using Node within the past couple of years, and are staying up to date as of like version 18 point, like I want to say 6 or newer, you should be able to actually use Fetch on the back end. The Node implementation of Fetch is pretty faithful to the browser's default standard, which is nice. So you have pretty consistent code between the two. But we'll go ahead and we'll call Fetch here. And so what we need to do is I need to interpolate our latitude and longitude here. So our latitude is going to be weather.lat, and our longitude is going to be weather.long, and our API key is going to be weather.api key or something like that. Yep. All right, and that's going to get me today's weather information, just like that. And then just to check their data, we'll go ahead and just log it out here. But let's go ahead and use up one of those API calls and get everything tested out. I'm going to run our dev script, which just runs nodemon with TS node to keep executing our app.ts. So it executed that fetch, got our weather information, and we can parse out what we want from this. They also store everything in Kelvin. So if we want, we can subtract like 273 from this to get the Celsius temp. And then like, I'm not going to bother with converting that to Fahrenheit, although if you wanted to, you certainly can. So let's see. Let's break up this data a little bit so we can format it into like a text message, string. Because I don't want necessarily all of this formatted, and I don't want to like JSON stringify the entire thing and just dump it to a text message. I want stuff that's a little more tailored. So honestly, the main stuff is kind of what I would like. Current temp, the feels like, the high and low, humidity, like all of that sounds great. So let's actually just destructure main out because that's really all of the info I care for. So let's see. Let's go destructure out of main temp. Feels like temp min. And I'll alias that out to min, and then I'll do the same thing for temp max. We'll destructure out temp max and we'll alias it out as max. Okay, so we have temp feels like min max. And let's see. What I want to do is I want to just take all these numbers. Like I don't want to manually like subtract stuff from each. So let me stick them all in an array and do a map. So call it like temp C for Celsius. All right, and so what we'll do is we'll take temp, feels like, min, max. So we'll put this in an array, and we're doing an array destructure here. So right now it's 1-to-1, just a copying of values. But here we're going to map every temp, and we'll return temp minus 273. So that converts from Kelvin to like our actual Celsius temperatures. And if you wanted to, you could also like do the, instead of this, whoops, not temp, but T. If you wanted to, you could also do the calculation after this, like encapsulate this to convert it to Fahrenheit, but we'll leave it as is. And let's see if there's anything else we want. Wind speed. Although it's kind of funny that this is in Kelvin, and I'm pretty sure that's miles per hour, not kilometers per hour. I'm not sure. We could check the units in their documentation. But let's go ahead and like build up a string. I'll call this string body. So we'll go ahead and we'll just use our Celsius variables here. You know, I wouldn't have had to go through this weird intermediary mapping stage. I could have just like done the math inline here. Yeah, you know, let me do that. Because I don't like how these variables look. I didn't mean to be like so nitpicky for this video on variables, but let me just do those evaluations here. Okay, so now we have everything converted into a nice formatted string here. So before we send out this text message, let's go ahead and just log it. So with nodemon, it picked up on the changes that I just saved. And, oh, good old JavaScript. Since I'm doing these math operations in line as well, I need to make sure that I call toFixed on them. If I want to take it down to just a couple of decimals, actually, I think one's sufficient. You know, maybe I should have left that map in place because now I'm repeating the same operation, aka I'm doing a mathematical operation, but I'm calling toFixed to return a string on every one of those numbers. That's kind of a good candidate for the map, and honestly, in retrospect, I probably should have left that in place. But we'll go ahead and we'll still do toFixed on all of these operations here. So there we go. And that reads out a little bit better, except for the fact I forgot to add in the unit here. Cool. All right. So now that we've got that text formatted nicely, we can actually go ahead and instantiate a new Twilio client and send ourselves a text message. If we can get that to work, you know, live in my terminal here in dev mode, we can just deploy it on Heroku and get the task scheduler to run it. So let's go ahead and instantiate a new Twilio client, which we can do with Twilio and provide in our account SID and the token here. So that would be SMS.SID. And .auth token there. Now with the client, we hit up the messages API, call .create. Create takes an object with a to property, so that's going to be to where is this going, and here that's going to be your phone number, which is this target number variable I have. But if you follow along with the env sample, that's what this number will be, your own personal phone number. So also, I know I said decode these, but if you know what these phone numbers are, go ahead and let me know in the comments as well if you recognize them. And if you are, cool points for you, because you obviously have a good taste in media. From is going to be from your Twilio number, so that's the SMS number property there. And then body, well, conveniently enough, that's the variable name we chose up there for a very specific reason. And then this returns a promise chain. I don't know if you guys see that little notification underneath me. I'll move myself out the way. But that was my desktop's text notification coming through, letting me know that that text went through successfully. So that's great. Oh, that... Can I undo this? I guess not. What a weird shortcut for OBS. That was interesting. So I tried to save this code here. I'm going to shut down my server before it re-executes that. But we're ready to go. So and I probably should add some like error handling as well for both our fetch call and for this Twilio call. But you know, for something just a quick one-off app like this where I'm just trying to get myself daily like weather information, it's not the most catastrophic if I don't have the best error handling or error handling period on it. So all right, let me go ahead and provision a repo for this. All right, and I'll be sure to link this repo in the updates or in the comments of this video, the description, that is. All right, we now have it updated and uploaded to GitHub. So let me go, and I'm gonna copy this name and hope that's not taken on Heroku. We'll find out really soon, I suppose. Nice, cool. We're going to connect to GitHub. We're going to search for scheduled weather updates, get that linked up. Nice and easy peasy. We'll enable automatic deploys. I'm going to pause for a little bit so I can enter all of the environment variables because there are 7 of them and I do have production keys. So I'm going to pause and I'll see you back in a second. All right, and I have my environment variables added. And now let me go ahead and go back to our deploy page. We'll hit deploy branch to get everything built up. And we will go to our add-ons here while it's building in the background. And we'll configure add-ons and we'll look for Heroku scheduler. And you can try out any of those, but I'll just use the Heroku scheduler add-on itself because it's easy to work with and it's free. So that's kind of nice. Then it will create a job, which is going to let us, oh, there's the build coming up behind me, that little text message preview. So that was it, executing upon the build. And here we can have it say, let's run at every day at, and let's see, I'm UTC minus 6, man, time zones. 9:21 p.m. Okay, let's see. So we'll say 9:30 p.m. UTC. And that's just to like get it to launch. I'm not going to make you guys wait and watch me silently, so I'll pause the video in a second. But what we'll have it do is just run npm run start or like node app.js as our start script. And so that's going to be running in just a few minutes. So I'm going to pause, and then right before it hits 9:30, unpause, and we should hopefully see that message pop up right beneath my image. All right, and I've got our text messages pulled up here. I don't know why I didn't have that panel open earlier, but we're about 30 seconds away from hopefully seeing it. It's just about 4:30. I like how we have some previous text messages from Twilio from February, where I think I did some previous videos on integrating Twilio with your code base. But we should hopefully be seeing it soon, and it actually just hit 4:30. So hopefully we see that come through in the next few seconds. Otherwise, let me go over to our scheduler here and see if that last ran function updates its timestamp. Oh, crap. The next due is April 8th, 9:30 p.m. Not okay, well, let me do it every 10 minutes. And we'll be right back, I guess. Well, I actually just had a message pop through at 4:32. I'm not sure which scheduler it ran through. I may have just been impatient with the date. Okay, no, that was the every 10 minutes one. Okay, so yeah, we do have the task scheduler set up right. It's just that with the daily, it's not going to run the day of where you set it up. It'll run subsequent days. So I have it set up to execute every 10 minutes, and it actually went ahead and instantiated it basically immediately. So there is our scheduled text message, which, you know, isn't daily, but it is scheduled, and therefore if you did want it to run daily, you could change that to run at like 8 a.m. your time, and have the current weather, and then the high and low for the day. So that's just about it for Heroku's scheduler. I mean, it was super easy to add. We just deployed our application, went to resources, add-ons, did Heroku scheduler, and added a job, said node app.js, said what time. That's basically it. Definitely deleting it and getting rid of this ad. Otherwise, I'm going to get, 10 messages a minute. That's 6 hours times 24, 124. I'd be getting 144 text messages a day around the clock about the weather, which I definitely, do not want. So I need to kill this job in this app. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. If you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and like and subscribe. And if you decoded those environment variables, please let me know in the comments, because I actually did set the config up like a week ago, forgot about this project, and started redoing it and promptly forgot what base encoding those were even done with. So yeah, let us know. Otherwise, I'll see y'all in the next video.